What up, guys? Hello, welcome to the Liverpool FC Journal. I'm W. James. This is your Liverpool news update, guys. We're going to think about the January transfer window. You know what? It's not too far away now. It's the 19th of November. Yes, that's the 19th of November today. 11 days left in this month. Then we get through the madness of Christmas, and it's here. The real Christmas for football fans. Yes, the January transfer window will be upon us. Now we're hearing lots of things as regards Liverpool. They're going to be quiet. They're not going to be quiet. They're going to sign this, but not going to sign. You know, there's all this sort of gossip going around, and I am not standing here. I am standing today before you saying that, you know what, I know everything. I'm not in the know. I don't pretend to be in the know. I'm a fan like you guys. I'll talk about the stories. I discuss the stories. That's what I want. You get your opinions. Get you talking about what's going on at the club. Now, let's start off with that man himself, the Italian guru of transfers, the professor of rumour and reports, Mr. Fabrizio Romano. Yes, Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about this man. He has been, not that man, no, he has not been speaking about that man, Owen. He has been speaking about this man. That's right, Mr. Antoine Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo, obviously the Bournemouth winger, a guy whose shot accuracy is up in the 80%. The guy who has having a phenomenal season with 9 goal contributions, breaking down to 6 goals, 3 assists in 11 games in the Premier League. A guy who is taking the league by storm. A guy who played well last season, so he's not one of those, what's the word that we talk about, flash in the box or something like that. So, I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, look, that's who he is. So, what has Mr. Fabrizio Romano been saying? Well, first of all, he said that as far as he's concerned, there is a very good chance that Mr. Semenyo will be on the move within the January transfer window. In fact, he put it as high as between 65 and 70% chance that he would be moving in January to one of 2 Premier League clubs. That's right. Not just one, but possibly one of 2 Premier League clubs. And who's he talking about? Well, obviously Liverpool. I mean, that's obviously the big club, the main club he's talking about, the club anyone would want to join. He's also talking about Manchester United. Yes, please don't laugh. Manchester United, yes. Apparently, Ruben Amorim had dinner with Fabrizio, not Fabrizio, he might have done. He had dinner with Antoine Semenyo last summer. Obviously, that move never came about, and Antoine Semenyo signed a new contract. Now, according to Mr. Fabrizio Romano, a man who, like I said, does know what he's talking about, both Manchester United and Liverpool are likely to be on the hunt for Antoine Semenyo in January. Now, that release clause is only valid for a certain period of time, like a special offer at your local supermarket, like getting your points card out and getting your rewards. I'm not going to use any specific examples because I don't want to advertise any money-grabbing supermarket. Look, so, you know, this is what it is. So it could be, I think, probably going to be, I would say, the first couple of weeks of the January transfer window, this release clause will be active because Bournemouth want to get the money in first couple of weeks. That gives them 2 weeks then to go and get a replacement for Semenyo in that window. They don't want to be coming out of January weaker than they went into it. No team wants to come out of a transfer window weaker than they went into it. Unless you're Manchester United and you just sign shit players. I don't know. But anyway, so Antoine Semenyo to Liverpool, 65 million, I think is a strong possibility. And obviously with Salah off at the AFCON, I think this would be a fabulous move. And look, I'm not saying that Semenyo necessarily is the long-term replacement for Salah, and I think there's a lot of people talking like that. He's more a left-sided player. Is he more of the Diaz replacement that we never got? That could be more where we're thinking with this one. You know, I think a lot of people recognise now that although we talk about Rio and Gamoa in very glowing terms, and Rio is a great player, don't get me wrong, or will be a great player, it's clear the manager doesn't quite trust him yet. And look, I think Rio's great. I think he's brilliant, but he is so young and he's still learning the game. And to put the pressure on him to be the backup to Gakpo, the backup to be the Diaz replacement, I think is too much at this stage of his career. So a signing like Antoine Semenyo, for me, would be spot on for Liverpool. And come on, FSG, you cannot, under any circumstances, lose out to that shambles from Manchester. The Ineos bunch. I don't want to hear Goldbridge on United stand talking about signing Semenyo. I don't want to hear that at all. I want to hear him crying into his mic when Liverpool sign him and United miss out on Antoine Semenyo, guys. I'm sure we all want to be there when that happens. So look, 65-70% chance. There's a good opportunity that will happen, but the club need to act fast in January to get that deal done and over the line. Now look, a left-sided attacking player I think is one of the key positions we do need to strengthen. There are others, of course there are. I think centre-back is still very high on the list of positions that do need to be strengthened. no matter what happens with Ibou Konate, and we talked about that deal this morning on this morning's video. If you haven't seen this morning's video, check it out. Look, whatever happens with Ibou Konate, we've got to recognise that, you know, Joe Gomez is likely could move on in January, could move on at the end of the season. Joe Gomez also, let's face it, fitness-wise, he's not as reliable as he once was. Virgil van Dijk is not getting any younger. At the moment, he's not falling off like Mo Salah, but you know, who knows in 12 months' time what could happen. So I think centre-backs, plural, are certainly something Liverpool need to be looking at. And of course, the man on everybody's lips, and it's time for him, is Mr. Mark Guehi, captain of Crystal Palace and England international, Mr. Mark Guehi. Now, according to a number of reports, and this is even down to something I was watching this morning whilst I was walking the dog on my phone, Spanish journalists talking about Barca and Real originally been interested in Guehi. German dirt journos talking originally about Bayern bidding for Mr. Guehi. And we know that in January, that once January comes around, they can talk pre-contracts with these players, because if you're out of that native association, if you're out of that country, you can talk to the player, get him on a pre-contract, and there's nothing any club can do about it. However, it does seem that Mr. Mark Guehi has pretty much agreed to join Liverpool already. That is right. The main man himself obviously nearly joined Liverpool in the summer. I think we left it too late. I think there was too much fanning around going on. There was more faffing around going on in that transfer business than there is when my daughter is getting ready on a morning. Really genuinely was. You know, so look, Guehi to Liverpool, I think it's pretty much done. Now, according to the reports, it's saying that Guehi has pretty much given his word to Liverpool that he will join them at some point. At some point. Now, when that is, we don't know. There's been stories saying that Guehi won't move on in January, that he's a player that wants to stay with his club. That's the way it goes. However, there's a lot of talk that Liverpool recognise that with obviously the uncertainty over Konate, the injury to not Tia Leone, that's an actress, Giovanni Leone. I wouldn't mind Tia Leone at Liverpool. It's quite nice, actually. Anyway, yes, so the injury to Giovanni Leone, lack of centre-back options, just getting some really weird mental images now of Tia Leone playing centre-half for Liverpool. Anyway, no, Giovanni Leone obviously been out. Yeah, so look, Mark Guehi could be a possibility in January. I think there's a strong possibility Liverpool will try and get this deal done in January. I think Liverpool themselves recognise there was a need for a centre-half. There is a need to bring someone in, and we've seen multiple centre-back links. And I get the media know that we need a centre-back, so they're probably putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. Clickbait, rage bait, whatever you want to call it. Guehi to Liverpool in January, well, it could well happen. If it doesn't, I think Liverpool will sign him in the summer, and it looks like he is going to come. So Manchester United, I've seen Man United fans talking about Guehi to Man United. Please don't make me laugh. Why would you want to go to that shambles in Manchester? There is only one red team in the northwest of England that you would want to join. There is only one red team in the whole of England that you would want to join, and that's Liverpool FC. It's not Arsenal. Let's face it. Most boring. It's Stoke City 2.0. You start watching Pulis ball. You don't want to join Man United either. Shambles, joke, and their fans just objectionable. So it's, you know, Guehi obviously to Liverpool I think is a strong possibility in the January, and I think a definite by the summer anyway. So what would represent the perfect January transfer window? You know, we talk about what's, you know, has anyone seen the film Hot Fuzz? And that really random copper who keeps saying, what's your perfect Sunday? Well, what's your perfect January transfer window, people? You know, I think for me, a realistically perfect January transfer window would be Semenyo and Guehi in January. I think that would give us options. That would give us players to really kick on for the rest of the season. And look, I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I'm not saying we're out of the league, because anything is possible in this Premier League, especially given the fact that when it gets to April, May time, you often hear from North London on a regular basis. So anything is entirely possible. So look, Champions League is a possibility. FA Cup is a possibility. And I think bringing in a Guehi, bringing in a Semenyo would certainly help Liverpool kick on and really push for those competitions, at least this season. Get the tactics right, Arna. Get the team right. Get the signings right in January. And there's a chance to kick on. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one.